So today we'll be getting into some stories involving Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, Trish Stratus, and more. Let's start things off with Kevin Owens' goodbye. Kevin Owens suffered a big loss to Sami Zayn at WWE Hell in a Cell and seemed to be acting seriously hurt after the match. Well, it looks like we now have an explanation for the loss and the way he was acting at the end of the match. That was Kevin Owens' last appearance for a while, and it was meant to write him off of WWE television. He took to Twitter to share this goodbye message with the fans. "I fought like hell. Now I need a little break. I'll be back soon. Thank you, guys." Everyone came out to support Kevin Owens and thank him as well for everything he has done and the performances he has put on. Kevin Owens has been going at it steady in WWE for several years now. Thankfully, he never missed a lot of time in WWE with a freak injury and never really had a long hiatus over the last few years. Kevin Owens has even stated on several occasions that he almost went home during the early stages of the pandemic era in WWE. But once WWE precautions started to improve drastically, he decided that it was safe enough to stay. So that's another great thing to point out. Kevin Owens, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Drew McIntyre, Alexa Bliss, Bobby Lashley, and all other superstars were all part of storylines during a scary time in the world, and they were there entertaining and putting on a show. That goes for all the other major wrestling organizations as well, and their staff and crew. No one really took any breaks from production during the pandemic, so that deserves a lot of gratitude. So now, as things are starting to go back to normal here in a few weeks for WWE, it looks like superstars like Kevin Owens are getting a nice long hiatus to rest up and get ready for the road again. There's a lot of big talent on hiatus right now, such as Kevin Owens, Sasha Banks, Bray Wyatt, Edge, and more, but we should all see them start to come back over the next few months here. Let's go over things with Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. Much to everyone's delight, we won't have to see another Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley WWE title match ever again. These two first met in the ring for the WWE title in mid-2020 and have been involved with each other again since January pretty much. So a near 7-month feud is thankfully coming to an end, and Bobby Lashley will be getting a fresh new contender. Of course, everyone's guess is Brock Lesnar. There was even some bogus reports during the day of Hell in a Cell that claimed Brock Lesnar was returning at the event. And a lot of people actually believed that report, but it never really made much sense to waste Brock Lesnar's return inside of an empty arena when live fans are just weeks away. So that fact alone was enough to debunk those rumors. MVP even responded to a fan that tweeted at them saying that Brock would return and take the title. That's when MVP said that Brock Lesnar fears Bobby Lashley. And this is interesting and got fans talking for several reasons. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar is easily a massive box office match on paper. But what happens when you look at Bobby Lashley's recent usage? Well, WWE loves to proclaim Bobby Lashley as this almighty WWE champion. But when you really think about it, he has yet to even defeat Drew McIntyre straight up during this whole entire feud. A 6-month feud, and this almighty WWE champion couldn't get one single clean win over Drew McIntyre. MVP distracted McIntyre at WrestleMania, so that was a way to protect Drew, but technically give Lashley the win. Then at Backlash, it's a triple threat match. Lashley pins Strowman, so McIntyre gets protected again. Then we get to a big, brutal Hell in a Cell match, and how does it end? It ends with the Monday Night Raw special finish, distraction followed up by a roll-up, which once again technically gives Lashley a win, but McIntyre is still protected. And yeah, some fans say, well, Bobby Lashley is a heel. He's going to cheat to win. Yes, that is true, but what about the bigger picture? If you really are considering a Lashley versus Lesnar match for the future, don't you want to build Lashley up even more? Give him a few massive wins under his belt to really build up his case for Brock Lesnar. A clean win over Drew McIntyre could have been one of those major wins for Lashley. It just seems that WWE is absolutely terrified to have McIntyre lose a match. That's why they had to bring in The Miz to be that transition champion from Drew McIntyre to Bobby Lashley. So that's where Lashley's case for Brock Lesnar starts to look a bit weak. Almost 5 months into his WWE title reign, and he hasn't beat anyone. His wins against Drew McIntyre all got asterisks next to them. Brock Lesnar probably fears Drew McIntyre more because that's the guy who knocked him off the top. If Lashley wants to get Lesnar's attention, then he should be running through the roster in a Roman Reigns sort of fashion. If Lashley does that, then okay. Now you can say that Brock Lesnar wants no part of you. But what is he fearful of right now? Getting hit with MVP's cane and getting rolled up from behind? We just got to see Bobby Lashley straight up dominate and go on a streak of some big wins. Then it'll make sense to go after Brock Lesnar. With Drew McIntyre out of the WWE picture, it'll also be interesting to see what he goes on to do next, because like we just talked about, they have been immensely protecting him over the last few months. So maybe there's something big in store for him as well. We'll have to see what's next for both Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, with them going their separate ways now. Trish Stratus is no doubt one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time and inspired so many women that we see wrestling today. Trish was one of those superstars that just took off and became a global icon. Just like the rest of all-time greats, everyone knows who Trish is, or at least heard about her. Trish was recently a guest on Oral Sessions and revealed some private conversations that she had with The Rock, and even how her husband felt about a story with The Rock. She had this to say: "You have to remember this was a time where there wasn't really women doing it. So you wouldn't be like, that's what I want to do. I maybe could look to The Rock and say, that's what I want to do. And is that realistic? I'm not sure, because it seems like it's never really been done so far. Then I remember The Rock said to me one day, you know, you can be the female Rock. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. Yes." Trish and The Rock eventually did cross paths in WWE during the early 2000s. Trish had this to say about her husband's reaction to that story. "I went, I have to kiss The Rock tonight. He's like, cool, that's going to be great for your character. Amazing, right?" As opposed to what maybe another husband might say. So just some interesting insight and backstage stories there from Trish. Even when The Rock was rooting for her and was behind her for her to take off as that female version of himself. And Trish did exactly that by becoming one of the most popular superstars in WWE history. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.